You're listening to Chameleon Church. Biblical Antidotes for the Modern Man. With your host, Allan Aguirre.
Well, good morning, Planet Blue. My name's Allan Aguirre, and I'm the host of the Chameleon Church Show. Every Tuesday morning, 8:45 a.m. Central. Yep. And I'm coming live and direct from the Wasatch Back out here in northern Utah. I don't know why I'm talking like this, because I don't talk like this, but good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, so new moon. Rosh Chodesh, new month, biblical month of Abib. That's right. The month of Abib. Hey, before we go forward, be sure to, wherever you are, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, whatever. Be sure to do that. And so it's the month of Abib. We've made it. It's been a year. It's been quite the year. Remember this time last year we were going, whoa, what's going on? We've got locusts, we've got plague, we've got a regular Passover season coming, and it was the first time I think Israel was mandated to stay indoors since the actual angel of death swept over them in Egypt. You know, I think there's an actual verse out there. I'd have to find it again that says that was like pretty much the last time Israel obeyed. After that, it was just a train wreck. Man, Montana's right above me. So so Passover's coming up, month of Abib. Apparently, they have found they have seen the Abib. We're going to have a proper Passover. What else? How about them there? Darryl, how are you doing, Darryl? Lenny, how are you doing?
Real good.
Fine, thank you.
Good. Stayed up a little later than usual because, it's daylight savings now. I've got more daylight to play and whatever you want to call it. Oh, man. It's not 5 o'clock, dark in the winter, and I just want to go to bed. So that's always a good thing. So my wife goes back to the theater. She goes back to work today.
That's exciting.
After them being shut down for an entire year. Yeah, she's a little... Yeah, she's
it's amazing they're still in business. What's
that?
It's amazing they're still in business.
I know. I don't even... Oh, man. If there's any muppetry going on, there's some going on there. But yeah, she's going back today. She starts back today. It'll be a whole new, different reality, though. The job description and everything's changed. So I don't know that I think she'd rather stay home. I think she'd rather not have to go.
Is it still a platform for artists?
No,
in the movies and everything else.
Well, it's always been more. They bring in like live acts, like
right.
old bands, or what are they called or cover bands, or like old bands from like the 60s or whatever. And they do some comedy on occasion, and I mean I've only seen like a couple live plays there. One of them being the Follies, which oh my gosh, they tanked that. They did that last year. It tanked hard.
They've always been influential, though. I know that they've really been influential in the town.
Yeah. Well, there's no Sundance anymore, so it's like all of Park City lost $1 gazillion.
Yeah. It's the most iconic building on all of Main Street.
It's been there for a while.
Everybody relates to,
Yeah, it's been there for a while, and it's been shut down for an entire year.
Jeez.
And they've gotten rid of all the stuff that my wife would have done for the Pharaohs, and so they've lost like a lot of those people, a lot of that support, because it's like, well, what's my incentive? We're not golfing, we're not doing anything anymore. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see. And in the meantime, I wished you guys had bought more books so that she wouldn't have to go back to work. What's wrong with you people? Just kidding. Wow, it's a slow morning. We've got Bob Hall and Bruce Warner. That's about it right there. What's up, Bobby? Where you at, Bobby? Where you driving? Bob Hall's a truck driver. He lives in Chop, and I'm not sure where he might be these days. And Darryl, how you doing, man? What's going on, bro?
Well, today finally go to the dentist to get my tooth dealt with. Hoping to get all the infection out of my body after fighting it for like 8 months now.
Yikes.
Yeah, it hasn't been fun.
Be praying for you.
We celebrated Rosh Hashanah on Saturday night, first of Nisan, and we're looking forward to Passover. We're going to be doing it on the 27th. We just follow the Hillel calendar.
Sure.
Close enough.
Yeah, we're only a day after you with the new moon.
So it's I don't know, it's an exciting time. I mean, last year was a true Passover, and it's realigned things. Also, another exciting thing is that we've now got a prayer group amongst pastors and other people that are starting to meet on a weekly basis here in the Niagara area. And that's something that's been needed for a long time. Like, the church has been completely incapacitated. So we started this a couple weeks ago, and it's starting to gain momentum. We had a great time of prayer last Thursday, and right in the middle of prayer, all of a sudden, this huge clap of thunder happens, and this deluge lasted not for very long or anything like that, but it was as if God was answering us and saying that I'm hearing. And so it's starting to build, and I've sent out a bunch of invitations. We're just going to see if we can get the people of God to start praying and pushing back the darkness. It's pretty dark.
Yep.
Even with daylight savings.
I heard a little red in your voice this morning, Allan.
A little what?
Red around the neck.
I'm not sure what that means.
Redneck.
Redneck. Oh, yeah. I never developed 18 years in Dallas, and I used to give people a test. And I would say, can you say fine white rice? And they'd fine white rice? No. There's a whole bunch of stuff you're missing there. Fine white rice. They couldn't say it. If they were true hardcore Texans would say fine white rice. Fine white rice. And I'm just like, oh man. Yeah, I don't know what happened there this morning, because they used to say, well, you're the one with the accent. I'm from LA, man. We're neutral. We don't have an accent.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I think
right.
It was highly pathetic, man.
When I lived in LA, I fit right in. Nobody knew. Except when I said about.
About, right. I just heard it.
Out and about.
Beg. And then we got then you got the northerners from like Wisconsin. They say beg or something weird like that. You like dags?
Yeah.
Dags? Yeah, dags. Oh, yeah. I like dogs. Those are the pikeys from there's a really horrible movie out there called Snap. Don't watch it.
Okay.
With and what's his name is playing a pikey. What were you going to say, Lenny? You're saying something else. So you heard some red around my neck?
Yeah. I think it's more prophetic than we understand. It's the new distraction. What's coming on the scene with I think to try to deflect about what's going on at the border, they're really pushing the racism narrative like they've never before.
It's crazy. I heard they're bringing 3,000 into the Dallas Convention Center. 3,000 youths, illegal alien youths. Hey, man, Biden America. Gee, it's so much better than the last 4 years.
I know.
Idiots. Anyway, so go ahead. What's going on with racism today, Lenny?
It's all over the news. It started, a week and a half ago with the whole Markle deal and the Crown, and it's progressed from that to our favorite Joy B on The View saying no Antifa, really pushing it 2 days ago, and Sharon Osbourne's issue of just with free speech. Pierce Morgan's her friend, and she just got just trashed, but she fought back. She didn't hold it. Last night I saw something interesting. It was the last night of The Bachelor, right? They publicly shamed.
No, wait. No, I don't know that.
Okay,
last night was the last night of The Bachelor.
I remember the time you watched it with us when you first moved to Park City. You go,
maybe I saw it. Maybe I've seen it once, but I've never seriously watched that. I used to watch Survivor religiously.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because they publicly shamed the mentor of the whole franchise, Chris Harrison, on TV. ABC did.
Why did they publicly shame him?
Well, it was the person that was involved with the romance stuff. Her name was Rachel. Let me see, Kirkinelli, and she's from the South. And she was the one that was chosen. And remember, this is like 6 months in arrears. And it was about a month and a half ago, he got up and he had to publicly apologize to everyone because at the time they pulled out these pictures of her. And I can't tell me this isn't a setup of about 4 years ago. Totally innocent, was wearing an antebellum dress, which means before the war. So it's offensive to anyone black. And, I understand the racism and the offensiveness, but Chris Harrison understood what was going on. He goes, man, why don't you just get off it? Quit pushing this kind of stuff and give the gal a break. She didn't know it. They excoriated him and kicked him off The Bachelor. It set everything up in a tizzy. Well, last night they brought a man of color on to close out the last show, and he was asking the questions, putting the pictures up on TV. They brought her up, and she was really wise in what she had to say, but she goes, I'm sorry if I offended you, but they were pushing the narrative that you're all ignorant because you don't know how offensive everything is.
So it was a propaganda piece.
Totally. And they said, well, this is what Chris Harrison did, and he had to apologize. And the guy, I think it's I forget, one of the anchors, another man of color, says, he wasn't sincere. And they just blasted him from CBS. And I'm going, it's interesting because I was just watching, and ABC is going to be, here's battles that are going to go on in Hollywood now. And yet they're trying to push it. So
there's nothing more entertaining than watching the liberals eat each other.
Oh my gosh.
It's like the best.
I know.
Liberal Democrats eating each other for breakfast.
Yeah.
I'll take liberals eating themselves for 800. It's just amazing.
It's a smokescreen. They're trying to deflect everything from Cuomo to Biden and all his idiot policies.
Oh my gosh. Right. And so what did it say? I saw something about Biden, his Biden being a predator and basically not saying anything about Cuomo being a predator, as a predator, and how predators, they're just going to leave it alone, which we've seen that happen before. Predators don't actually out other predators. That's really interesting.
Unless it's time to completely get rid of them, like they did with Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, but that wasn't predator against predator. That was supposedly prey against predator. That's a little bit different. But that's the thing. I mean, I'm from LA. Hollywood was my playground, like growing up. This is where I spent a lot of my time. Yeah. Everybody knows, whether you're in the entertainment industry or not, everybody knows about the signing couch. Everybody knows about the signing couch and the term signing couch. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for actresses that are like Well, of course I slept with him. If I hadn't have slept with him, I wouldn't have got that role. If I hadn't have slept with him, I wouldn't have gotten my movie.
You mean like
If I hadn't have slept with him, they wouldn't have greenlighted my project. Well, then you're a prostitute. See, everybody knows about the signing couch. It's not like a secret. I remember when after George Michaels died and they said, George Michaels, homosexual, the biggest secret in Hollywood. It's like, how did you not know? He was in Wham UK. Don't you remember Wham UK before it became Wham? And then before it became George Michaels? Everybody knew. What do you mean it was the biggest secret in Hollywood? You have to be an idiot not to know that he was homosexual. You have to be an idiot not to know that there's a thing called the signing couch in Hollywood. Everybody knows this. So for all these women to come out and saying, "Oh, I had to sleep with Harvey, or I had to sleep with somebody," no, I'm not saying that. Well, here's what I'm saying: you can't blame. It's like, it's like my biggest fascination about cults aren't the cult leaders. Cult leaders are going to do what they do. It's the people that believe the cult leader and join the cult. That's what fascinates me. And then they cry foul. Oh, I was coerced into a cult. No, you're just freaking stupid and believe that this guy was legit. You can't cry foul. If I choose as a because it happens to men too. If I choose as an adult to have sex with a producer or an executive or whatever in order to further my career, I can't complain about it later on. Now, what they do to the children, that's different. That's different. That we have a problem with. There's a signing couch. Everybody knows there's a signing couch.
They've been putting it into movies since the 40s.
I know.
There was a movie with I think it was with Marilyn Monroe. And they're in their party and they got the tuxedos, and it's just like, literally,
diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. When I hear one of my favorites, the absolutely gorgeous Selma Hayek, Israeli Mexican, say, well, if I hadn't had sex with him, I wouldn't have been able to do my movie, Frida. It's like, then you don't make your movie. You figure out if having sex with Harvey was the only way to get your movie made. See, I don't understand it. And I don't know. I don't get it. And then everyone's like, well, it's empowered. She didn't have any choice. Yes, she does. Of course you have. Was she raped? No. Then you had a choice. If you were raped, that's a different story. Then that's bad. Of course, obviously. But am I making sense, or am I just like totally not, or do I not get it?
No, you get it.
Yeah, but
you know how many choices, you know how many opportunities I had for the same for my career, and I said no.
And you were never the big rock star.
And I was never the big rock star. But you know what?
At least you kept your integrity.
It's like so weird because it happens. You don't think there's a Christian music mafia? You're an idiot. How else can you be a huge, like, number one artist for like decades, have an affair, leave your husband, and then marry your lover? And then put out a record of hymns, and not ever skip a beat. Well, because you're making too many certain people too much money. And I was there when all this happened. I was in Nashville during GMA, and I was being interviewed for Sirius Satellite XM radio in the lobby of the Renaissance Hotel. And I go, well, how about we talk about the elephant in the room? And I said that loud. I was being deliberate. And they're like, what do you mean? Because they had already told me I could, because it's me, I can say whatever I want. They're not going to, because that's just who I am. And I go, yesterday, everybody in this room, every magazine, every video show, every news correspondent, every radio, TV, everybody that promotes or whatever, was invited to a certain woman's house for lunch here in Brentwood or wherever she lives, Franklin, for a big old press junket. They were given, gift bags, lunch, so that they could preview her new album. And all of you guys went, and none of you asked the question about her now being married to the lover that she ended up having an adulterous affair with, that went public, and then left her husband. And it's like, and you guys are going to come after me because I smoked pot 20 years ago. You have an adulteress among you, and you pacify her because she's made all of you way too much money, and there's no way you're going to pull the cord on that lifeline. If you don't know this is how the world works, you should go watch my teaching on Shrewd's Not Rude, about being shrewd and knowing how to work the world system for the kingdom. And how Jesus said the world is so much quicker than you, children of light, and they're going to basically chew you up and spit you out because you're so freaking stupid and you don't know how to work the system. Well, you don't even know how the system works, and so many of you are like ostriches, head in the sand, because you don't know how the system works, and you don't want to believe that the system works. You know how many of you came out of the closet of ignorance and stupidity in the last year just because you realize, there's nefarious things going on in the world that I live in, with my government and with my banking system and with my reality that I didn't know about before. And welcome to the party, pal. We've known about this for 30, 40. We've always known about this, and we've been telling you this whole time, and you thought we were nuts. Hell, the government has even admitted that there's life, that extraterrestrial life exists twice in the last year, and you guys don't care until those big, massive spaceships are hovering over every major city in the world. And you're still not going to believe it. And that's how you're going to get sucked into the Antichrist beast system with the false prophet, because you have no discernment. Because McFly. All right, that's my rant for the morning. This is the Chameleon Church Show. I'm your host, Allan Aguirre, and I'm out of coffee.
That was a good rant.
It's all true, too. These people, I'm really out of coffee. I'll be right.
It's interesting because that's what Mario Murillo called the church to. He goes, they're clueless as how to pray and what to stand for, right?
Oh my gosh, Mario Murillo is off the hook regarding the letter, the evangelicals for Biden regarding abortion. He came after them. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And then he went after them, and now you're pissed at Biden because he lied to you. And what was the other one he came up with? Why? Oh, did you sign this letter? Some other letter. It was amazing. Mario Murillo. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
He's going after him.
He's taking the spiritual bazooka right now.
Yeah.
And it's just because there are certain people standing up and saying, well, we warned you, but we're still warning you because we still love you.
Yeah.
It's just, it's madness out there. And so if God is not going to take this back, then we're all without hope, because we can't do anything anymore. It is beyond our ability to affect the least little bit of difference unless God supernaturally invades the situation. I think he will. Yeah. I think there's been too many people who have been 2 Chronicles 7:14. I think there's been way too many people on their faces and crying out to God. I mean, he was willing to spare Sodom and Gomorrah for 10 righteous people. I think there's a lot more than that have been crying out to him since all this went down last year. But it's complete lunacy. And I think one of the things God is doing is he's showing how insane the satanic system is. I honestly think that's one of the things that God, you sure this is what you want? You want the world? This is what the world ultimately has to offer you. And when the restrainer is completely taken off, it hasn't been removed yet, but it's been pulled back quite a bit. People are just sitting there scratching their heads going, I can't believe this. Why? The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. It is all about debasement of the image of God through you. That's all it is.
Yeah, he wants
to humiliate everybody before he takes them to hell.
He's revealing all the pockets of evil. They have to come to the forefront because he's about ready, I believe personally, of revealing a son. The son of man, the cloud rider, is getting prepared. And I do believe we got to fight. I think until the day he comes, we have to not only abide, but we got to fight. We can't give up. He tells us not to give up. Mm-hmm. But I do know this: when you're looking at the whole global system right now, he's making it rise like I've never seen it before, everywhere, not just in America. Mm-hmm. And he's shaking. He's starting to shake it.
Well, they've been dealing with this over in Europe for years now. I mean, back in 2015, Merkel said, "Yeah, let all the immigrants come in, 1 million of them." And then they were having rapes and they were having murders and riots. They had that whole thing in the I think it's the north of France or something like that, with the refugee camps. And, Soros just marched millions of them in after they've spent decades destabilizing the Middle East.
You have to wonder why they would do what they would do to make sure Trump would never be elected again. And you have to ask yourself, why are they on the side of doing things and championing the decline of the United States of America? Why are they trying to hurt our country? Mm-hmm. And we've been talking about this for a long time. And if you understood what was going on as far as the globalists go, this isn't
it's nothing new.
They admitted it. Greenspan admits it in his 1971 memoirs.
Yeah.
That if you want to take over the world, you got to get rid of the United States. How do you get rid of the United States? You have to take over 4 of the 7 mountains. Gee, the world even knows about the 7 mountains that the Christians are. Oh, it's a cult. 7 mountains isn't biblical. It's a cult. You guys are a cult. Oh, New Apostolic Reformation. Once again, there's your stupid Christian thinking. Right? They know you got to take 4 of the 7 mountains. You take 4 of the 7 mountains, you'll take out the U.S. You take the U.S. out, we can take over the world. Why? Because we're the biggest defender of Israel, and if we're out of the way, then that's a clear shot for Israel. It's not about us; it's about them. It's only about us by proxy. And so that's what's going on. They've been working on this for a long time, but see, these people don't understand this. Again, you're not shrewd. You don't understand the parable of the shrewd manager. You don't understand what Jesus is talking about. I've been saved 41 years, and I've never heard anybody preach the shrewd manager parable from behind the pulpit because they don't understand it, because they don't know what to do, because pastors tell you the exact opposite when you get saved. Oh, are you in politics? You can't be in politics and be saved. Oh, you're in entertainment? You can't be in entertainment and be saved. But you'll never hear them say, oh, you're a plumber? Yeah, you're going to have to stop doing that now that you're saved. They don't have any wisdom or discernment. So if Jesus is going to be revealed, this is why my wheelhouse is trying to teach Christians. If anything, I was in the background listening to you guys talk, and I came up with this, and I've never really said this before in my entire life, and I've been getting a lot of those recently. But
all right, sit down, Lenny.
No, it'll be real short. What I do, what I teach, and what I write about is I'm trying to teach Christians how to identify Messiah. Isn't that amazing? I'm trying to teach these people how to identify Messiah so that when he comes, they know it's him. Because right now, they're going to miss him. Because they don't know who Jesus is. Because they don't know who Jesus is in their daily life right now. Because if they did, right? What does it say? You wouldn't be doing what you were doing. If you did 1 Peter, like I taught on Incorruptible, right? If you were applying to your faith all these attributes, then you wouldn't fail or sin. But see, they don't do that because they don't know what the attributes are. Because and then there's that vicious, convoluted Christian cycle of I don't have to do anything. So they don't know. They don't actually know who Jesus is. How do I know that? Well, look at Christianity. Look at Christians and look at Christianity. They don't know who Jesus is. So they're going to miss him when he comes, and they'll pick up a plaque instead, and they'll cry Trump is bad and pick up this other plaque instead, and they'll actually believe the false prophet and the Antichrist. And Jesus even said that. If somebody else came in my name, you'd believe him. Duh, right? So I'm trying to teach these people how to recognize Messiah for themselves so that they don't miss him. So yeah, I think Jesus wants to reveal himself. Sorry, go ahead, Darryl.
Yeah, well, it's hard. Even John the Baptist had a problem with that because, and here's the guy that
And then
nobody, there was nobody born of women that was greater in the kingdom than John the Baptist.
Right. So not only are they cousins, but he sees them in the spirit realm and calls them out as the Lamb of God. And then
jumped in the womb. Even before he came out of the womb, he was jumping up and down. Right. And yet, when it didn't go the way that he thought it was supposed to,
perfect,
because God will mess up your feng shui. It doesn't matter who you are. and even he had doubts. Yep. So what did Yeshua do? He didn't say, yeah, you twit. Of course I'm him. He says, no. What do the scriptures say? The lame walk. Tell John what you have seen. The lame walk, the blind see, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, the gospel is preached to the poor. Yes, it is all me. Isaiah 35 and Isaiah 60 and all these messages. Go back to the job description. I did. And
blessed is he that is not offended by me.
Yeah. Oops.
Ta-da! That's like their mic drop.
Yeah, and I did recruiting for a number of years for like financial institutions and stuff like that. And for me, it was always like, well, if a candidate's going to come in, I want to know if he's an acceptable or she's an acceptable candidate. The first thing that I have to do is, what's the job description? And then the second thing is, what's the resume? Then we can talk about whether, the personality and everything else. But if you don't know what the qualifications are, and then you don't know what the candidate's qualifications are, you're not going to know. Most people have no idea what the qualifications for Messiah really is.
No, or that he's coming to liberate Israel from her physical enemies.
Yeah,
I mean that's the second coming of Jesus is him swooping down to save Israel.
This is they don't have a missiology, and the church is defunct because their missiology is that he's going to continue the church in the way it should be. Not only just brick and mortar, but this is the way church has to be. And you know what? Daniel 7 says it clear. The Son of Man, when he meets the Ancient of Days, is given all kingdom and authority, and he's there to reverse the corruption and to establish that kingdom. That's his missiology. And John the Baptist in Luke 1:17, he was the mouthpiece and the harbinger saying, this is what has to happen. You're teaching in Peter. Those simple things is returning the hearts of the fathers to the children, obedience and preparing his way. But you got to remember this too. What does it say in Zechariah? All the nations are against Jerusalem. So it's not a coincidence. And are we surprised that he's shaken America to the point that all these things can be put in place? Well, if he doesn't save it, you know what? It's about him. It's not about our lifestyle that he's trying to keep. Yeah. I just when I look at that, I'm going, they need that heart cry in their heart, Maranatha. And again, I'll say it again. Where is it?
I mean, you can't say in unison with the Holy Spirit, come.
Yeah.
If you don't know who it is, who he is,
Yeah.
50% of the virgins are going to miss him.
I know.
Yep. So who's Messiah? We got to teach these people who Messiah is. And again, it's like you said, it's not what it looks like. It's not what you think it's going to look like. I've always said, it's like, look at Adam and Eve were immortals and they missed it. Israel's prime directive is to usher in Messiah for the rest of us. And they missed it. End of the day, there's only 120 in the upper room. There's this constant missing. Yet somehow evangelical Christianity's got it. They figured it out. They figured it out, and they're not going to miss him. Oh, jeez.
Are you kidding me? Oof.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's a wake-up call going right now, though.
What's that?
There's a wake-up call that's happening right now. And I think some people are responding. I think there are some people who are finally starting to wake up.
Absolutely. I agree.
And that's good, because the remnant is being separated from the rest of the, the riffraff.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we've got some really solid people, man, on Monday nights and even, Tuesday morning, and the people that are buying the books. These are some solid people. They're like, you know what? We want to know. We want understanding. We want to understand and comprehend. And we're like, okay, I can work with that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep. What else?
You see the sandstorms that are going across China and Mongolia right now?
No.
It killed 10 people and like 80 are missing in Mongolia.
Wow.
Like you see this massive cloud of sand that just wipes through, and it's completely destroyed areas. Like, we're watching things happening on a scale like this whole locust plague that happened last year.
Right, and apparently they're out there again. Somebody sent me video of locusts again.
Yeah.
You had 5 earthquakes around the Philippines yesterday, 5.0 and greater.
See, again, we don't, and we've talked about this on this show before too. People don't look at life the right way, man. They don't see from a higher perspective. You have to look at stuff like this. You can't look at stuff like that, I mean, the Jesus movement was 50 years ago. That's not even a blink to God. It's still happening. You know what I'm saying? It's like for us, it's like, oh, it's been 50 years. I mean, look at how badly Christianity has changed in 50 years. Half the stuff we know to be true as far as sin in the biblical narrative is not considered sin anymore. And that happened just in the last 15 years. It's amazing.
The sad part is they've gotten arrogant in writing it off.
Well, that's like Israel, right?
Whoa.
The problem with Israel is they were arrogant in their rebellion. They weren't just rebellious. They were arrogant in their rebellion.
Totally
That's why God went, you know what? I'm done with you. I'm going to wipe you all out and start over with you, Moses. And Moses is like, no, the Egyptians will hear of it. And he goes, all right, well, I'm going to kill them all off anyway. Right? Because they were arrogant in their rebellion. You can't work with that. There's no working with that. Because there's no repentance. They don't have a contrite heart.
And that's Isaiah chapter 9 right there.
Yeah. I know.
Which was a foreshadow of 9/11.
The harbingers.
And then Tom Daschle gets up in Congress and actually quotes that, we're going to rebuild just like Israel. You didn't read the rest of the verse, did you there?
It's crazy.
But the problem of arrogance has always been the issue. And anybody who's ever been in pastoral ministry, or any kind of ministry for that matter, understands that. You're dealing with recalcitrant people who absolutely refuse to get with the program. I had someone tell me a couple of months ago that this is literally after telling us that they weren't going to be fellowshipping with us anymore. On a meeting, told
by the way, I'm cutting you off.
and told me on a web meeting that, well, obviously I'm not really good at what I'm doing, so we should probably find out what I am really good at. I'm sitting there looking at this guy. Really? Okay. Arrogance. Just outright arrogance. I said, oh, by the way, I got a whole community over in Kenya that would love to have me come down. And I got all kinds of people in the States who would love me to come be the rabbi. So, no, it's not me. It's you.
I know. the physical people we've dealt with here. I mean, we've been cast out of every church on the mountain, literally. You know, people that we originally came here to fellowship with disowned us. And then 2.5 years ago, we started working with this other church that invited us in. The pastor invited us in, and then they turned on us and threw us. They came out like pitchforks and torches, and then they kicked his ass out last year, a year and a half later. And I was the reason they blamed me as the reason why they were kicking this pastor out, because he let a wolf in. Anyway, all that to say, and I'm like, there's people out there that would actually love to spend some time with me. That would love for me to come over to their house or to their city or to their town or their conference and speak and share the word and lay hands on them and everything. And you guys despise me. It's a trip. It's quite the trip. Well, it's like, because Allan, you're an asshole. That's what they say, right? Because you're a jerk. You're a jerk. You're not sensitive. You're not loving. You're not kind. You don't have any grace, or I'm like, this is love and grace. Or would you, or would you rather me not tell you, and then let God tell you, and then at that point it'll be too late when He tells you.
Yeah. Let's tell everybody that it's their best life now, shall we?
Yep. I'm like, look, if you didn't bring me in as a pastor, I wouldn't have to say something. But since you brought me in as a pastor, I can't sit here and not say something, because I don't want to have your blood on my hands.
Yeah. Because
the only thing I could have done, not to piss all these people off for the last 8 years, is never say anything.
Yeah, just keep sinning.
I'm sorry, I can't do that.
And then when the judgment comes, they go,
"Yeah,
what happened?"
If I was just a sheep in the pew, no problem. But you brought me in as a prophetic this or whatever, or a pastoral this or that, I have to say something. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my darndest to show up before the Lord on Judgment Day with as little blood on my hands as possible, and I sure the hell am not going to have yours on it. You know what I mean? This is already too difficult. Humans. And so, you know what? You step back, you take a look, and you go, okay, how are they doing comparatively? Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Oh my God. So like everybody that moved to Utah with us have left. It's just my immediate family here. All the people that moved here to Utah with us are gone. And only 2 of those 6 people are actually serving the Lord. The other 5 or whatever, they're not. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm okay. Remember, shrewd's not rude. I'm sorry, Lenny, you're going to say something.
Well, everything's based in the church is based on personal rights and free choice. Yeah. And the moment you bring them back to Torah and saying you don't have a choice, those are harsh words. I pissed off more people telling them, no, you can't get divorced, or keep it in your pants. I'm sorry, that's just the bottom line. And I lost. They were going left and right. And that's just the basic stuff. But I have my rights and I have my happiness. And so they've developed a theology around that. And boy, when they're sitting in the pew and they don't hear that, they leave.
Yeah. It's like, if you don't tell me what I can't fix what I don't know is broken. And a lot of times we as humans, we don't know what's broken. Right. I need people to tell me, hey, that's broken in you. Now, my critics will say, but we've told you you're rude, you're this and that and the other. No, you're saying that because I just told you something about the truth of your life that you don't want to deal with. And now you're telling me I'm broken. That's not what we're talking about. That's not how it works. My telling you that you're broken, but then I'll tell you that you're broken, but I'll also give you the recipe on how to fix it. I'm not just sitting here complaining about you. I'll actually give you the tools to fix it. You're just saying I'm broken. You're not giving me any advice at all. And again, it's like, anyway, it's weird. But anyway, I can't fix what I don't know is broken. So I'm not afraid of people speaking into my life, but you have to be a trusted agent. You have to actually know what you're talking. You know what I'm saying? You have to be legit. I'm just not going to listen to any. I don't just listen to any. That's stupid. I'm not going to listen to anybody. Just tell me whatever they want to tell me. You know, it doesn't work like that either. There's an order to things. It's all laid out in the New Testament. So I don't understand why Christians have a hard time understanding this. It's in the New Testament. Are you not reading your Bible? Oh, that's right. I forgot. You don't understand your Bible when you read it. I can help you there too.
They only read the important parts of the Bible.
Yeah. I was just talking to people last week, and they asked, well, so how do we hear God's voice? And I'm like, I'm glad you asked, because I have to. My 10-year-old grandson, almost 11 years old, he's like 10 and a half. He wants to know. He's like, he's frustrated because he doesn't know why God's not speaking to him. Oh, you got to love that. So this 10 and a half year old, I have to explain to him the mechanics of how to hear God's voice. You tell an adult what they need to do to hear God's voice, you're going to make, most of the time, 80% of the time, you're going to make an enemy. Are you saying I'm not hearing God's voice? No, you did. You're saying that, dumbass. You know,
why you came talk to me.
Exactly. You know, you're the one that's not in the Word or praying or fasting or in fellowship. How do you think you're going to hear God's voice if you're not picking up the phone, buddy? You know, so, but that's what triggers people. That's how I get people mad at me, telling people that you can't lie. They don't like that either. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
You're fruitless and lying. You're liars and you're fruitless. That's what happened with the vineyard. I mean, that's what happened at the branch here in Park City. You're lying and you don't have any, and you're not bearing any fruit. They didn't like that, so half the church left. I'm not here to make friends. If we become friends, that's a bonus on the side. I'm not here to make friends, man. I'm here to be a standard bearer. I'm here to be a light bearer and a standard bearer. I fear God. I sure the hell don't fear you. Mr. Christian. Oh, but I love these people. Why? Allan, doesn't sound like you love them. Well, sure I do. Sure I do. I'm still here and I'm still trying to help you. I'm still trying to serve you. Help me help you.
Well, you know what? We can bring up the whole issue of just erroneous teaching on the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
They have not been taught what the Holy Spirit says. It's become a platform for them to a cushion where they're going, well, I need to float on this cloud when he's supposed to come and bring conviction, righteousness, and what happens in judgment.
We got wide elements of the body who don't even believe the Holy Spirit is a person.
No.
We got all kinds of people within the Hebrew roots movement who deny the personhood of the Holy Spirit.
Totally.
Well, it's the force of God, but he speaks. So how does a force speak? Like, I just don't understand these people. And that's what they get caught up in.
There's more to it when Jesus said to Nicodemus, you're a teacher and you don't know these things?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, what is the Spirit? And
again, if you don't have a revelation of,
yep.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If you don't have a revelation of the person of Jesus Christ, if you don't know who Jesus is, and if you don't know who Jesus is, you're going to have a hard time hearing him or knowing that it's him. And you're more than likely going to think Black Lives Matter is what you should be doing.
Exactly.
And that's what we just saw. They traded in the spirit of prophecy, which is the testimony of Jesus regarding Trump, for a Black Lives Matter plaque. A Marxist regime. And the founders are not only Marxists, they're in the occult. They admitted it. I mean, why would they hide that? That's what happens when you have no discernment, when you lack any discernment. And we're talking about the Christian left now, the Christian liberal left. You know, evangelicals for Biden. Oh, did I cross the YouTube line? No, because I didn't say anything about an election being stolen. So, yeah.
No.
I wouldn't do that.
Didn't talk about disease or anything.
We need to come up with a code system here.
Peaches.
We got to come up with some code. Oh man.
But if you look at the insanity of what's going on, it's all coming out for us to see. Like the veneer of civility, and
If you have eyes to see.
But a lot of people still aren't.
No.
A lot of people still aren't doing that. They're still within the church. They're still.
I love the fact that those that have gravitated to Tuesday morning, our show, have gravitated to Monday night. You know what I'm saying? I love the fact that they have found us. Go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting.
I was talking to when we had the prayer meeting last Thursday night, and one of the things that we were discussing is that there's 2 other pastors that are working with me, and they said some churches have not been open in a year.
That's insane, dude.
You're not a church.
Dude, I just recently found out that there's literally people still hiding in their houses.
Mm-hmm. You're not a church if you're not meeting.
Oh man, people are still hiding in their houses. It's like they haven't. I know a guy. Didn't I share with you guys? I know a guy in LA who went to the doctor because he wasn't feeling good, and they prescribed him vitamin D because he's been hiding in his house for 8 months.
In California.
In California.
You can't get vitamin D in California. There's serious problems.
I know, right? It's like crazy.
Alaska, I understand.
But there are still people self-quarantine. We know some people that all of a sudden got together over the weekend. We know some people. And we think they got together over the weekend and they're all happy because they all got vaccinated. Did you see that? The new propaganda machine, it said vax to normal instead of back to normal. Vaxxed to normal. That's the propaganda machine. You know, it just rings like Himmler.
Mm-hmm.
It smacks of Himmler. That's how he got it. That's how he pulled it off. Yeah. So we think these people got vaccinated because all of a sudden, after like a year of not really getting together with people, they're all of a sudden getting together with people. Now, of course, they're not telling people they got vaccinated, or they didn't tell us. But we figure that's probably what happened. But you see what I'm saying? Because what are they selling? You need to get vaccinated so you can go back to normal. Look what they're doing in Israel, the green card. You want to go to a restaurant? You want to go to the mall? Do you want to go to the movies? Do you want your life back? Then you need to get vaccinated. And if you don't get vaccinated, we won't let you out of your house. That's literally the narrative.
So much for free.
We can't say that, can we? Oh, yeah, that's what's going on. That's what all the propaganda says. That's what they're telling us. I'm just repeating what they're saying.
Yeah. And this whole thing has been planned from the get-go.
Yeah.
They ran simulations of this back in 2019.
What was that called? They had a name for that, didn't they? I think they went even further back than that, but I think there was a name for that. Either way.
Well, Bill Gates has had the patent on this vaccine for several years now. That we know. So, and the people are just marching in lockstep to it. Yeah, and
who thought that this would be how they were going to do it? I mean, it's churning. It has literally, dude. This COVID-19. Let's just call it COVID-19. And whether you wear masks or not, whether your position on masks, and whether or not you're going to take the experimental vaccination, that they're calling it a vaccine, has pitched family members against each other, churches. I mean, who knew it was going to be like this? This is what they're using. That, with the insanity of the election on top of it in this country, oh my God. Talk about polarizing. Talk about dividing lines. My grandkids couldn't see their great grandfather before he died because of the stigma of my liberal family members. And they basically said, why would you endanger his life by going to visit him? And I was like, wow, you're freaking whacked. And so while my dad was still alive, we had a plan of taking all the grandkids over there to see him in May of last year. But again, the stigma of certain family members, we didn't. And so he didn't get to see them before he died. And I mean, you've heard the horror stories of loved ones dying alone in hospitals without their loved ones because they wouldn't allow them in and all. I mean, this is what they've done. Dude, what's worse is the horror stories I've heard about children, young kids, the shame and the isolation, and parents actually putting their kids for 2 weeks and locking them in rooms for 2 weeks in their homes to quarantine them. Who does that? If we actually know somebody that did that to their child, that's child abuse. Mm-hmm. But it's happening, and right in these. Oh my gosh, I have to stop thinking about it. I can't.
A house divided against itself cannot stand.
Now, we're not saying there's not something out there. Yeah, there's something out there. What we're saying is we don't believe it's as bad as they're making it. Because if your little homemade floral pattern mask is going to save you, you're a special stupid.
It's actually produced a new condition. It's called mask mouth.
Yeah.
You're sucking in your own bacteria all day long.
Yeah.
And
if this was
some people don't wash their masks for
no people. I know people that sleep in them, which is like, I can't even, but you know, I'm not going to say if, because that's how we're going to get pulled, but why aren't the homeless and strippers and prostitutes, why aren't their bodies in the streets? Homeless, prostitutes, and strippers and drug addicts there should be bodies, piles of bodies everywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, right? Isn't that what a pandemic would do? There's a great meme. They're forcing you to take a vaccination for a virus that you have to be tested to see if you have it.
See, when they had the plague run through Europe back in the 14th century, you knew. You knew when you got it. And then you didn't know for too many more days.
I'm glad that's not what it is. But why are they doing to us what they're doing to us, or trying to do to us what they're trying to do to us, if it's not what it is? What's the agenda? When they're dangling your civil liberties, when they're dangling your what's the word? Inalienable rights?
Inalienable.
As a carrot to take an experimental drug. All right, we should stop talking before we get pulled. We don't want to put Mark in that situation.
Oh, he's ready to go. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No, but if people aren't going to understand the hard truth, because how many pastors have you heard say that the shot is a gift from God?
I don't listen to these idiots, so I've never heard them say that. Are they actually saying that?
There was actually a guy from Dallas.
Who?
First Baptist Church in Dallas. There's only
Well,
7,000 of those.
Baptists, so they're not
Prince, I
really
think
sure
his
if
name
it's
was, or
Phillips.
something like that.
Baptists don't have a clue. Yeah, I said that. It's true. That denomination, clueless.
So I'm not with him anymore. But yeah, he was actually on the news. Now, they have something called the Pastoral Response Team, which are basically government stooges. And what this group have, and they've all been trained, are designed to do is round up their congregants into FEMA camps when the curtain comes down. That is their job, to help ease the transition to the cattle cars. And so you got this guy on the news, and this was last year sometime, so it was before they actually rolled out the shot, that, yes, this is a gift from God. I told you I had a conversation with a guy a couple of weeks ago who head of an organization, Canadian Christian Business Federation. And so we've been getting online prayer meetings and stuff like that, praying for one another's business. And then on the prayer list, there's pray for for efficient and effective distribution of the shot.
So I have a question.
And I said to him, I said, we need to talk. So we had a Zoom meeting last week, and I said, why is this on there? And he said, well, we're not really, it's not our mandate to actually directly deal with this. I said, but then why are we promoting it? He says, I'll take it off. And he says, my wife is a virologist. She knows all about this stuff. I said, okay, so let's pull it. And so apparently he did.
So is this how they're going to get us? Is this how they're going to round up the dissidents into FEMA camps?
I doubt it.
They're going to try. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but
there's a lot bigger things coming than this. This is
Ooh,
a blip
like,
right now, and it's nasty. But watch, just
like the 2019 asteroid is going to slam into us that Tom Horn had a vision and dream about. Oh.
Like the fifth seal when Jesus goes like this.
Something that looks like oh man, this is a hard one for flat earthers. I actually asked them off record. Off the record, I asked, how do you figure this? How do you explain this one? And they're like, we don't know. I'm like, oh. That should be your first clue, buddy. Anyway, something that looks like a mountain on fire slams into the earth and kills off all the water, or a third of the water. I'm like, I go, you guys don't believe in space? No, we don't. And this isn't an anti-flat Earth rant. No, this is. I love those of you that I know. I love some of you. The others, some I don't. But anyway, if we're in a dome and there's no space, how does what sounds like an asteroid come out of the sky and slams into our Earth? They're like, well, maybe it doesn't come out from space. Well, there's no space, so it doesn't come out of space. So it has to come from within the dome. So what? Somebody's got a big old catapult somewhere on the other side, or somebody gonna? What's that game where you shoot an arrow straight up and watch it come down with somebody? That's what somebody's done. I mean, come on. They can't answer the question. And then of course they deviate to the stars. Stars are just gas. There's no planets. I'm like, I'm done. I can't talk to you anymore about this. But anyway, 2019. So basically, if an asteroid does slam into Earth in 2019, that will absolutely completely destroy the flat Earth concept. Then they have less of a leg to stand on. And I know there's some flat earthers here watching. Project Bluebeam, that doesn't explain a physical matter falling into our Earth and hurting us, because Project Bluebeam, that's all holographic, isn't it? If I believe so.
That's
yes, you're right. 2029. You're right, Tim. 2019 already happened, huh? Oh shoot. And none of us caught it. Tim, thank you for catching it. 2029. 9 years or 8 years from now. But anyway, the point being, I don't understand asteroids in the flat Earth model. So I don't think it's possible because they can't answer it for me either. So I'm thinking that's going to be a big bummer for them. Oops. But anyway, I don't like the idea of anyway.
But again, that's just a distraction, just like the Meghan Markle interview.
Oh, when the rich Hollywood millionaire is complaining about life to a rich billionaire?
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Did you see that meme? That was pretty funny. It's a pretty funny meme.
But so many, like even Candace Owens got caught up in it. And Ben Shapiro was like, why are you even talking about this? This is all clearly a distraction. Now, Steve Quayle did post something really interesting. He said, well, this is just payback for what they did to her, did to Diana.
Oh my gosh. That's a horrible tell.
Oh, yeah. So, this is retribution.
No shame in their game.
What was that?
There's no shame in their game, is there?
No, but we all know what royal family is all about. So, but what does this have to do with anything? Why are Americans so concerned about the fact that Prince Philip might be racist?
Well, because there's an American involved, an American actress. It's People magazine. It's the Star. It's the, tabloid. It's tabloid television. Oprah's tabloid television.
It's our addiction. It's all of America's addiction, believe me.
So you got the Democrats that are absolutely destroying the country financially. I mean, $1.9 trillion, and 10% of that goes to COVID relief.
Oh, I've had liberals on my wall tell me that's not true. It's more like 85% went to it. Only 15% went over there, wherever there is, into the nebulous there. I've got liberals on my wall telling me, Allan, don't you understand that what you're saying is wrong? I'm like, no, I don't understand that. They're like, yeah, it's 85+%. I'm like, you're new here, aren't you? I just trolled your wall. You're a flaming liberal, aren't you? And then they didn't come back. I'm going to go probably poke them and go, hey, what happened, bro? You've been a friend of mine for 13 years. This is the first time you raise your head. Surely you know what I stand for. And because I literally said, hey, I should probably ask what your political affiliation is, because that's probably where I'm like, you are aware I'm not the only one saying this, right? Like a whole bunch of people are saying this.
Yeah, it was apparently it was all gone to Democratic cities that have been allowed to be absolutely destroyed through this whole thing with incompetence and allowing the non-existent terrorist organizations to run rampant and cause billions of dollars of damage. You see, what these people don't understand is that nobody out there is speaking the truth in the media. You've got the alternative media, which they're doing everything they possibly can to suppress. Everything. But nobody out there in mainstream land or Hollywood or anything like that is telling the truth. And if you can't see that now, then there really is no hope for you.
Look, I remember when I could say Robert Downey Jr. is an elephant. And just because that wasn't true, I could still say it. Remember when you could publicly say, and even in writing or in the airwaves like this, streaming media or on the internet, social media, I could say, see, I've been on Facebook since 2006. I remember what it was like up until about a year ago. I could say, and I could publish, Robert Downey Jr. is an elephant. And no one was going to fact check me. No one was going to do anything. I remember when I could say Barack Obama is a Muslim, and I could post that and publicly announce that and say that. Whether it was true or not, didn't matter. It's called free speech. Free speech means you can say whatever you want, even if it's not true, as long as it's not libel. See, there's rules. As long as it's not libel, saying them that calling someone a Muslim isn't libel. You're either right or wrong, right? But I remember when you could say things like that, and if it wasn't libel, even if it wasn't true, as long as it wasn't libel, they couldn't stop you from saying it. It's called the First Amendment. You can't do that today at all. If you say anything against the narrative regarding the last presidential election, or if you say anything against the narrative regarding COVID, they will censor you.
Mm-hmm.
But do you remember when you could say anything you wanted? Something as ridiculous as, I don't know, Robert Downey Jr. is an elephant. And no one was going to fact check you. No one was going to shut you down. No one was going to censor you. No one was going to pull you off the internet. They do that in China. They don't do that here. I remember those days.
It's called tyranny.
Yet, the ones that are doing that called Trump a dictator. When the people doing the dictatoring, see what I'm saying? It's like this is how, I mean, do they know that they're lying? Yes. Do they know that they're not telling the truth? Yes. Do they know exactly what it is that they're doing? Yes. Are they banking that you, liberal Democrat, are clueless? Abso-freaking-litely. And are they going to demonize those of us that don't agree with the narrative? Oh yeah. How do you think this works? Hiding Anne Frank was against the law. You broke the law. Now you'll be punished. You're a Jew. You're an enemy of the state. Now you're going to be punished. That's what happened. Remember in the 30s, in the 40s? Wasn't that long ago? All right, I'm done. Current events, people. This is the current event episode of the Chameleon Church Show. This is really freaking happening outside your little window.
That you're not allowed to go out of.
Oh, I'm out. I'm going out. I stopped wearing a mask weeks ago.
Yeah, but you see what happened down in Texas as soon as Abbott lifted the restrictions on masks.
Yeah, we got friends and family that live there.
Nobody told the companies that they have to, though.
Nope. They're privately owned. Privately owned company. They can do whatever they want.
That's right. And call the police and tackle you to the ground, even if you're a 65-year-old woman.
Yeah.
It's completely gone mad out there. And God is just saying, wake up.
And you're the enemy if you bring it up.
Yeah. Listen to this. For all nations have drunk the wine of the passion of her sexual immorality, and the kings of the earth have committed immorality with her, and the merchants of the earth have grown rich from the power of her luxurious living. Then I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, lest you take part in her sins, lest you share in her plagues. For her sins are heaped high as heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Payback's a bitch. It's the principalities and powers that are just pulling strings like crazy. And the way we fight them is to heal the sick, cast out devils, forgive like crazy, love like we've never loved before, and speak up and tell the truth like we've never done it before. Just a thought.
Oh, and for all you Hebrew roots people that came from illiterate Christianity and all you did was bring a religious baggage to this group with you, coming out from her doesn't mean you don't go to church on Sunday, because that's what they use that verse to demonize Christians that still go to church on Sunday.
It's the mark of the beast.
Yeah, they just go on and on and on. They make YouTube videos about it. No, when it says come out from her, that's not what they're talking about. You made that up. Hebrew roots, dumbasses. Don't do that. Stop.
No. The Sunday being the mark of the beast isn't that Seventh-day Adventist? That's Millerite stuff.
These people
they're just trotting it back out. See, they're mixing all kinds of stuff.
These people just wear me out, man. They just wear me out. You do. They wear me out. It's like, stop it. Go practice speaking in tongues. Go figure that out. Go figure out speaking in tongues and healing the sick. Why don't you try that for a little while?
Yep.
God. Oh, it's maddening. Oh, it's so maddening. Oh. But the majority of the people on here and the majority of the people on all the other live streams that I do, they have a clue, man, and it's a blessing. These people are a blessing to me because they want to know and they're getting it and they ask real questions. What's that?
You forgot the Chameleon today.
I forgot what. Oh no, I didn't. Did you just put it up?
Okay, I'll take it off.
You better take it down because if you don't, I'm going to get in trouble with Mark because the next person up doesn't have a clue on how to use this system. So whoever they are, I just said that out loud, didn't I? Sorry. I guarantee you, they're not watching our show. And if they did, they pulled out an hour ago because we're too abrasive or too whatever. I don't know.
Lenny's fault. We were nice until he got here.
It's Lenny's fault. I know. We were like
All my fault.
G-rated. We were like. No, you know what? We're just really comfortable. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna leave that alone. I was just about to sabotage myself, and I'm not going to.
Yeah, I usually use that phrase, what King David said about his enemies.
That's progress. So hey, we're going to be the Chameleon Church Show is going to be celebrating 1 year anniversary here next week or something like that. We were actually literally the first video show. Our show was the first to do live streaming video on the Lamb Messianic Radio Conglomeration Network. We were the first. I was a little surprised that they were audio only when video's been all the rage for the last so many years. Anyway, so we were the first to do it. We were the first show on video, and we are doing. We're going to be having a 3-year anniversary here in the next matter of days or so.
Can we celebrate birthdays? Yes, as long as you don't have a cake to Artemis.
Are you serious? Somebody's asking that? Can we celebrate birthdays? Yeah. Who said you couldn't? Oh, that's right. They did.
You're listening?
Don't listen to them.
You're listening to Chameleon.
They also believe a bunch of other stuff you shouldn't believe.
You're listening to Chameleon Church. You're listening to Chameleon. You're listening to Chameleon Church. Biblical Antidotes for the Modern Man. With your host, Allan Aguirre.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.